In this video, we are going to learn how to design the header of a blog website. Now, if you have watched the previous video I did, you will know that the theme we are using right now is called the Blocksy theme. And I explained that the reason why I chose this theme for a blog website is because of the level of the customization they offers as regards to dynamic pages we have on our blog websites. So that is why that in this video, I am going to focus on how to design the header of a blog website using the Blocksy theme. And with that, I will assume you have logged on to your WordPress dashboard. And if you have done so, just navigate down to Appearance and click on Customize. Now, we will be brought to this place. So just as I reminded you that the theme we are using right now is Blocksy theme. That is why you see it here. The active theme is Blocksy. So if you have not watched the previous video, then I suggest you go back and watch it. Or moreover, you just go into your theme section and activate the Blocksy theme. And with that, coming over here now, under general options, then here on general, there is no much thing you will need to do here for a blog website. Only that if you did not switch on the scroll to top, which is this one down here, then you can switch it on. As you can see that mine is on. Now going back here, we can now come down and click on header. Now, as you can see on your header, they give you the option of having three sections of the headers here. And the first one is the top row, the middle one is the main row, and the last one is the bottom row. Now, where we have our menu and these search icons, including this our site title, is here in the main row. So now, to start designing the header of our blog website, we are going to begin with this main row. So for that, as I hover on the main row, I come up here and click on the settings. Now here, there is not much thing to do here, only that I am going to click on design. Then here, work with the background color of the header by clicking on the color palette here. Then for example, I am going to give it a black color. Now I am going to come down here now and click on the menu here. Now this is the settings of the menu. First of all, here on the select menu, I will advise to leave it on default. Now coming down to top level options. Before we take a look at this, let's first of all click on the design. Now here on the font, you can click here and change to any font family of your choice, and also come down here to the font color. And first of all, click on the initial. Then I will give it a white color. Now, secondly, on the hover color, I will give it, for example, a red hover color. And in that same hand, the active one, I will make something like, for example, green color. Now, in that same hand, I might scroll down and come down here on the drop down options. Here under general, in the interaction type, you can see by default is hover. So let me show you what this is. That is, if you hover your mouse here now, you can see that the drop down just displays. So that is what it means by interaction type hover. Because if you choose click now, then it means if you hover on it, there will be no drop down until you click it. Then there will be a drop down. So I will take it back to hover. And in that same hand, if you scroll down again, you can see all these settings, which I am going to leave the way they are, but you are free to play around with them and see the effects they will apply on your blog header. So scrolling up again, now I will click on design here on the drop down option. So this drop down options design is this drop down. When you hover on the menus, you see all this drop down. You can see that the hover is blue, but the initial color is white. So for that, I will come here. I will leave the initial color on white, but I will click on the blue hover color. Then I will make it something like grayish. Then on the active, I will make it gray, but more darker gray. Okay. Now coming down to item background color. Then I can click on the initial palette and for example, change it to black, which is this as you see, is now with black color. And coming down also to items divider, drop down shadow, and drop down border radius. These are things you can work on your own, or you can leave them the way they are. Then I can now scroll up to this place, top level options. Then click on the general tab. So here we are using type 1. You can check out the type 2, and this is how it looks, or the type 4. This is how it looks. But the one I want us to make use of is the type 3. So I'm going to leave it on type 3, which is this. So now selecting the type 3, I'm going to now click on the design tab again, then come down here on the background color. Now I'll first of all click on the hover color, then change it to any color of my choice. For example, I'm going to give it a white color. Then if you notice, if we hover on all these category pages, then the color of the menus links will not show because they are white. So for that, what I'm going to do is that I am going to come up here on the font color, then click on the hover palette color. Now change this one to black. Then if you hover on it now, you can see it's going perfectly okay. Then the next thing I'm going to do now is to add our logo to the main row. So for that, I will come down here and click on the logo. Now under general, I will first of all click on this select logo box. Then select my logo from my media library, or you upload it from your PC, and come down here and click on select. Then now you will see your logo there. And now that we have inserted our logo here, and for that, we don't need this our site title here anymore. That is why I will come down here. You can see site title. Then I switch it off. So perfect. And I will leave every other thing the way they are. Now, if you like, you can come here and click on the design tab and give it some margins. But if it seems okay the way mine is, then you don't need to do anything more. You just have to focus on another thing. And that is how we are going to come over here and focus on this search icon. And for that, I will click on the search icon here. Now, the search icon is supposed to be here, but you cannot see it because it's having a black color. So for that, here under general, if you want to increase the size, you can increase it. But first of all, I will click here on the design tab. Then here on the icon color, I will click on the initial palette first. Then change the color to white. And now you can see it here. Then I will click on the hover color palette. This one, I change the color to grayish. So now, perfect. So the next thing I'm going to do is to scroll down here. Come under here on the search results. As you can see under general, the placeholder text is search. You can see it here that the placeholder is search. You can fill in any placeholder of your choice, but I'm going to leave it like this. Then come down under it here on the live results, make sure it's checked. And the live result images, make sure it's also checked. Then under them, you come here on search through criteria. We are going to select in which criteria the search we use in searching for any content on your blog website. And the criteria we are going to select is post. And that is why I will uncheck the pages. So perfect. Now, if you come up here and click on the design tab under the search results, then here you can be able to work with the styling. Like for example, the font color here, the input font color or input border color here. You can change all of them to any color of your choice, or coming down to search button color. That is this one you see here. Now I'll first of all click on the initial color palette. I might change it to something like gray. Okay, perfect. Then still under the search button color, I click on the hover color palette. So I'm going to give it a hover background color, which is going to be black. Okay, then coming down again here on the modal background, that is this background. I like it the way it is with the black color. But if you want to change it, you can always click here on the color palette under the modal background and change it to any color of your choice. So now, perfect. Then the next thing we are going to do is to add an element here at the top bar. Like for example, let's say that you want to add your social media icons at the top bar there. Then go back one step again here. Coming back here in the header customization section, then we come down to the elements. Now I will come down here, then click the socials elements and drag it to place it here on the top bar, just as you can see it's there. Then with this, you can now go ahead and click on the socials elements here inside the top row. Now you will see the settings of the socials elements. As it starts from Facebook, if you want to add more, you can click on plus and add more. Okay. Now you will need to include the URL of your, for example, Facebook page or your Twitter account or Instagram account URL. And to do it, how to include it here is, if you come down here, you can see it says configure the social links in general to social. So now all you need to do is to hover your mouse on the social network account to here under this right up. Then click it. Now you'll be presented with this. And all these places are the inputs where you are going to fill in, for example, your Facebook page URL or whatever social media account that you want to include in your blog website. So you can go ahead and do them. Once you are done, make sure you click on publish. Now, the next thing I am going to do is to add another element here at the top bar. Like for example, adding an advertise with us button element at the top bar here. So for that, what I am going to do is to come back to here. Then now I am going to drag this button and place it here at the top bar here. Then the next thing I am going to do is to come here in the top bar section and click on the button element. Then you will see the settings of the button element displays here. Now, as you can see here under general, the default button style we are using is this one. That is why you see it like this with a blue color. But I want to make use of this ghost style button. So I select this one. You see how it is. Now, the next thing to do is to come down here on the label text, change this download text to something like advertise with us, for example. And with that, I will leave every other settings. So the only thing you are going to do is to come up here and click on the design tab. Now here on the label text color, we'll leave it on black, and on the hover palette color. If I happen to change it to white, for example, then because the background is white, you will not see it. That is why I will leave it the way it is and come down to this button color. Then click on the initial palette color. Now I can select the color to be black. Now I can come up here under the label text color and click on the hover color palette. Now change it to any color of my choice. Like for example, I want to make it white. Then come down here on the button color and click on the hover color palette and make it black. Now, if you hover on it, this is the way it is. So with this now, I think we are totally done with designing of the header of our blog website. And with that, that brings us to the end of this video today. Thank you for watching, and I hope to see you in the next videos.